Over 100 years ago, the NCAA was created to regulate and control college sports. Their core principle was that college athletes should be classified as unpaid amateurs, barring those who compete in it from profiting off their fame. Fast forward to 2021, and college athletes are still not getting paid to play. But for the first time in history, they can make money off their name, image, and likeness.
We are talking wrestling, and not just wrestling. We're talking about NIL agreements in wrestling. Are they good for the sport? Are they bad for the sport? What does the future hold? Are you going to have corruption? Are you going to have everybody buying out each other and nobody having loyalty and all this sabotage? Dalton, we're at the US Open. We're about to go in and see some of the greatest wrestling in the United States and ask some questions, see what's going on, what's the status of American wrestling. So we might get in there, which is down somewhere there. We definitely don't want to spend this $90. Hey, it's right above here.
The security of this town is awesome.
Do you think money's going to change wrestling, and do you think it's going to be for the good or for the bad with these NIL agreements?
It's something these kids can capitalize on, but it's an area that there's not a lot of regulations, you know. So it's kind of a wild, wild west. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds with it, but I think, you know, typically, I'm sure at some point there'll be some more structure, but I think overall it's good. It's good for kids to, you know, make money and support themselves.
I don't think it's good. I think it was initially started to help wrestlers get paid and get opportunities to make money using their name and likeness, and now it's gotten to a point in time where it's the opposite. Guys are being plucked from their programs and being paid money just to score points at the NCAA tournament for other programs. So I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
It's an interesting dynamic, but it's exciting for athletes to be able to go out and do an autograph session, do a clinic, you know, do an endorsement deal, and really be able to make something. You know, those are the type of things that the name, image, and likeness really opens the window for, and I think that's great.
I think it's good for the people and the guys, but we don't wrestle to make money. If you want to make money, you go play football, baseball, you know. So I think it's iffy sometimes, you know, people asking for more money and it becomes, you know, a different type of game.
There's money there. There's finally money there. No more $100 handshakes or come be my pool boy for the summer jobs. It's all above or supposedly above the board, and kids are getting paid a couple $1,000 a month on the books, and then on top of the free tuition. So it makes it a seller's market. If you've got the goods and you fit the weight class, or if whatever school needs a starting quarterback, they're going to pay for it now. So God bless America with a free market economy.
I say $1 million can win you a title right now. $1 million, $100K per weight class. You could go out for 1 year and get a stud for about $100K. Bernie's out right now traveling. He's at ASU this weekend. He's just raising the bar. It's a business. You can't blame these kids. Go get that money. Make them pay.
When I see a guy go to the Big Ten, you know what I think? Oh, it's a business now.
We're in the VIP at the U.S. Nationals. We got some of the wrestling top brass over here. This is what it looks like in USA Wrestling. And that brings us to Penn State and Cael Sanderson's dominance on college wrestling. I think it's a tragedy for our sport. I think if you look at all big sports in the media, the ones that are pushing the athletes can make a career out of, I think you find that the leadership is making it so there's multiple teams that are competing for a championship every year. I think that's the priority of sports, to make it unpredictable. But next year we know who's going to win. It's Penn State and it's Cael Sanderson. And the year after that we know who's going to win. Penn State and Cael Sanderson. With Penn State just kind of just winning and winning, I think in the last 10 years they've got 9 out of 10. Do you think that takes away from college wrestling, meaning it takes away from the competition, where there's no more suspense now and there's no more chaos in terms of who's going to win the NCAA Division I national championships?
Oh, no, absolutely not. What people need to do is appreciate that dynasty. It won't be there forever. I was a wrestling fan before. I'll be a wrestling fan after. But I'm enjoying Kale's dynasty while it lasts.
At least they're all going to Penn State, so that means the second place trophy is a little bit easier to win. You know, so everyone's competing for an opportunity to be on the podium. Penn State's great. They have been great, regardless of who they got as a transfer. They're still going to probably be the best team in the country. They've done a phenomenal job there, but you wrestle to try to beat the guys at each individual weight class. You know, it might be harder to win a team championship, but you can beat them in one-on-one matchups. I think that's what you have to focus on.
It's good being part of Penn State, but I think there's nothing better than beating the Penn State guys, you know.
Yes.
You know, so it's hard. It's for sure hard because they're good, but no better feeling when you actually do it. But hopefully some schools come up. I'm hoping Arizona State, you know, get some good guys, and we have the guys that we have. I feel like they could do a good job and take it to the next level.
Yeah, as a competitor, I want to dominate. You know, that's the whole reason we get into this, right? We want to dominate our opponents, you know. And I think, you know, Coach is, as a competitor, that's the way that he was fueled. As a coach, that's the way that he's fueled. And he's trying to put the best team together that he possibly can and help change these kids' lives and make an impact. You know, I can know from a former athlete being with Coach. And when I chose to go to Penn State, you know, I knew that he could help me achieve my goals in the present, but also in the future.
What is your favorite move coming into this next Olympic cycle?
All kinds of good moves.
Single
leg. They call me the Magic Man because you never know what's going to see. So we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Good luck.
Pat Minio of the Wrestling Room reported that Bernie Truow was offered a $250,000 deal to compete at Iowa. Despite that, he's still committed to transfer to Penn State. But that raises the question, if Iowa did in fact offer him $250,000, was Penn State doing something the same?
When you have a student athlete that tells you right to your face that, you know, somebody called him and offered him this to leave your university, there's no doubt in my mind there's some tampering going on.
What does this mean for smaller programs who simply don't have the resources to keep up? I mean, schools like App State, West Virginia, Oregon State all produce studs with great coaching staffs, but they don't have thousands of dollars just to like keep flashing around in the recruits' faces.
You faced Alexander Karelin, and you became like a worldwide phenomenon. Why was it you in that moment and not the rest of these guys? Because that's what wrestling suffers, is media exposure. But you have been kind of the poster child of American wrestling. Why was it? What was so special about that moment?
People told me when I started schooling, I had a learning disability. They told me day one I'd never graduate from high school. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. And so I was always told my whole life I couldn't do something. I went out there and I didn't make the Olympic team in '96. I finally made the team in 2000. All those setbacks, it's like, you know what? Karelin, everybody, you know, worships him. He's the best ever. He beat me in '97, 5-0. Broke 2 vertebrae in my neck in that match. And so I learned from that match. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty damn good, but guess what? He gets tired, he's out of position, you know, all those things I think I could do. And you know, when I got there in 2000, my semifinal match, I was losing 2-0 to a former Russian who lived in Israel that I'd never wrestled before. And I was losing 2-0. I came back and I beat him 3-2. So Karelin was kind of, I think he was going to beat me pretty easy. So when I walked out there in that final match, man, I had nothing to lose. I had, you know, everything in the world to gain because I wasn't even supposed to be there. So for me to walk out there, everybody else thought, oh, well, Karelin's going to beat me. I went out there and said, you know what? If he's going to beat me, he's going to have to earn what he gets. I'm not going to give him nothing. If he beats me, he's a better wrestler, and I'll accept that because he is the best of all time. But I believe that I could beat him at that level.
I want to do whatever it takes to get more eyes on our sport because I think the NIL agreements is going to destroy a lot of the programs. Any comment on that?
Wrestling, I think the values that it brings upon, it's not the American #1 sport. The Russians, they have their sports, you know, that wrestling is like one of their top 2 sports. In America, it's one of those sports that people look at, oh, it's values and developmental. For me, what made me the best in the world is I learned from Dennis Hall, Joe Warren, Steve Frazier, Mike Houck, Dramil Byers, McAfee. Those are all world and Olympic gold medalists, champions. Those are the best in the world. That's the best that America has to offer. And why are we not utilizing their skill set to help this next generation of athletes? And it's not about what you have, it's a matter of what you do with what you have and what you develop into that skill set to become what you want to be. That's what I did. I want to give that vision to the next group of young wrestlers.
Hell yeah, coming from Rulon Gardner, beat the craziest, toughest person on the planet, and he's right here before us. Thank you so much.
You thought I'd be bigger and tougher, didn't you?
I did. Oh! I'm coming back for him. If I take him down, you pay me $200. I know. People wanting to break into the U.S. Nationals next year, what kind of advice would you tell them?
Consistency. Train, you know. Balance. A lot of mindset work, a lot of physical work.
I meant like actually break in through the door and not pay the ticket fee.